make firm established. So my guests and I bring you messages to establish what you need to know in the present. And also I like working with angels and the calmness they bring. Now, in a moment, I will introduce you to my wonderful guest, Lorraine Biggs. But before that, I'd like to say thank you so much for watching this show live or at a later date, as it means a lot to me to connect with like-minded women. Now, if you've never met me before, then my name is Rae, and I love to help women to crossroads in their life, heal their past, create their future, and transform their present, so they can take charge of their destiny in the here and now. I'm the founder of Radiant Angel Energy, and I use future life progression, past life regression, meditation, angel cards, angelic Reiki, hypnosis, oracle cards to help women who feel lost get clear on their reason for being here. And I've also created a transformational journey and a journey through lifetimes. Now, each episode of the show will cover various themes of your journey, a mini guided meditation or angel card reading, with the wisdom of my wonderful guests, like today's guest, Lorraine Biggs, about how you can break that fear of being visible and feeling like you are a fraud. Now, Lorraine is a multi-qualified therapist who loves to inspire and empower successful businesswomen who feel like they suffer from the imposter syndrome. She facilitates them to rediscover their awesomely fabulous selves. She works with them to help them to possibly transform themselves and their lives for the better. In doing so, that increases their chances of running a successful business. Now, Lorraine has a BSc degree in business administration, an NLP master practitioner, and is a clean language coach. Now, working with businesswomen who may feel like they're a fraud and have a fear of being visible, she uses her various techniques combined to create her Phoenix process. Now, Lorraine facilitates her clients to explore their inner world and heal their unhelpful, restricting thoughts, beliefs, and emotions, and any resulting self-sabotaging behavior, such as procrastination and resistance. This naturally enables these awesome women to feel more grounded, more self-confident, and feel more in control of their lives, feeling vibrant and free to be themselves, no matter who they are speaking to, and living their life to its fullest potential. With testimonials such as Lorraine's unique model was easy to access as it was online. Working with Lorraine has enabled me to remove barriers and blocks which were interfering with my thinking. There are things now I can look forward to without fear, and this has made an unbelievable difference in my life. It was absolutely tailored to me. I would say that until you've had a conversation with Lorraine, you will never know that there is a solution to your problem. So without further delay, hello, Lorraine, and welcome to the Angels and Destiny show. How are you today?
Hello, Rae. Thank you very much for the invitation. I'm doing well, thank you. Really enjoyed today's sunny day.
Brilliant. So before we get into this conversation, I want to remind you that you can also ask questions, leave comments and thoughts, as both Lorraine and I want you to be part of this conversation. So please don't be shy. So Lorraine, why don't you tell us more about yourself and how we can break that imposter feeling, that fear of being visible and feeling like a fraud?
Well, that's a very deep topic and a very long one. We could be here for a very long time. So I didn't realize actually that imposter syndrome was what I was suffering from until just recently, in the last 6 months or so. And my journey, 59 years old, 59 years young, brought me to this whole point in my life, so that I could turn around, so I've helped heal myself, so now I can help others heal themselves, because we heal ourselves. Even my clients heal themselves. I just facilitate them so that, they are, and we can all heal ourselves. It's a process we can all do. It's a matter of finding that person to help facilitate them in and taking them on that journey. And it is a journey. That's the thing that I've come to realize. It does take time. We're talking about working through the layers. So I started out in England, so I am English. So if you hear a bit of a dodgy accent, then you can.
Wasn't going to say anything.
No. I lived in Scotland for 10 years, so in England for 10 years, Scotland for 10 years, and I did actually hop over to Holland for a year and a half. I forgot to mention that in a previous conversation, but then in the States for about 18 years, and that's where the dodgy accent comes from. And through all of that journey, I suffered a lot. The older I got, the worse it got, to be honest. And I suffered from agoraphobia, from anxiety, from there were so many different things, digestive disorders, feeling, like I just wasn't good enough, feeling like I just there was nothing that, whatever I did, I had to, that perfectionist thing going, I had to make it perfect. And if it wasn't perfect, then I wasn't going to try even. And that's what I find, when I looked up this, I researched the Imposter Syndrome, and it was introduced back in 1978. And the origin was by Dr. Pauline Clance and Dr. Suzanne Imes. And they came up with that definition: an individual experience of self-perceived intellectual phoniness or fraud, feeling like a fraud. And the interesting thing, it can happen to most people, which is, I'm not alone, which is good to know. No. And yes, so it was really quite an interesting journey to get here to recognize this, which I kind of sort of knew, but really didn't have a label for it, if you will.
Yeah, I think most of us at some point, in the therapy work or whatever we do, have had that imposter syndrome thing where we suddenly think, oh my God, I'm not worthy of this. It's, should I be speaking about this? Should I be doing this?
I've got a lovely people I'm going to say hello to is Sherry. Hello, Sherry. Great to see you, lovely lady. And there's Ali. Hello, lady. So we'll say hello to those lovely ladies watching. And yeah, it's nothing, to be honest, it's nothing to be ashamed of. And the thing that I have found really and truly underneath everything is how what I'd like to see changed in the future. That's what I want to really we are very powerful beings, extremely powerful beings. We create beliefs, positive, negative, neutral. And these are like programs that they control us once we've created them. And once we've put them in our psyche, that's kind of like our programming. But these beliefs can be created in different ways from different sources, if you will. And but once they're ingrained, it's pretty hard it's like a train track. You just run that train track and it's really hard to change. And attached to those beliefs are emotions that were created at that time. And yes. So
yes, you can, Steve, please do.
Oh, hello, Steve. And yes, it's really it's like a train track on those beliefs, and then the attached baggage on the emotions attached to that. We have our reactions to certain things, and in the moment, it's just in the moment that it just happens. And so that no matter how many courses sometimes a person will take, and how many books they've read, and how many courses they've got on how many degrees they've got, they're, because of that belief, because of that trapped emotion that they're holding on to, no matter how many degrees you have, can convince that person inside that they are enough to be out there doing the job they're doing. And it doesn't have to be, it can be a secretary, it doesn't have to be the president of the country or anything, or the prime minister. It can be just going in there and being fearful of others, fearful of being criticized or judged, and we want to be perfect. And I find that goes back to how we're managed as children.
Okay.
So that would be our siblings, it would be our parents, it would be our teachers, it would be, church, whoever, has got an influence over you as a child, because we're, I've mentioned, powerful beings. And what I would like to see in the future is I think it's unfair both to children and to parents, because there's so much information we have now. I'm not a parent coach. I've got 4 gorgeous grandchildren, and I've seen just how fragile and how easy it is to crush those awesome little, they're so easily influenced.
Yeah.
So easily influenced, and that over this journey, I think the oldest is going to be 9 in November, and you can't keep up with them. They keep going through the stages, and by the time you go, I got this figured out, then they move on to something else. It's like, wait, just stay in the same stage for a little while longer, so at least I can put into practice what I've just learned. So that's why it's so important that we learn this before we have those gorgeous, precious children. Those powerful little beings.
Yeah, because isn't it? They say whatever a child picks up before the age of 7, literally is in their subconscious and is their root of being for the rest of their lives.
That's very much so. And whether it's overindulgence, whether it's through domination and control, or children seen and not heard, all of these kind of things, that kind of programming, or whether it is neglect as well. Neglect and overindulgence causes the same result. There's no difference, because the thing about confidence is we have to learn, we have to grow, we have to evolve, we have to do it for ourselves. And if we don't get to do it for ourselves, if we don't get to go down that slide, no, that's too steep. No, when you're older, and that is repeated over time, lots and lots and lots of times, that child starts to believe the other kids are going down that slide, same age as me, younger than me. So what's going on here? So maybe that mum is very anxious, and maybe she had an accident when she was younger on a slide, and so she's projecting that to that poor child, and so that child starts to believe, well, obviously other children can do it, therefore there must be something wrong with me. So we blame ourselves, and therefore we think, if she says I can't do it, then obviously I'm not good enough. Is that we, as children, we create these 1 and 2 are 10 kind of beliefs. We don't have that understanding. We don't have any idea, any idea whatsoever. Obviously, as children, we're still learning and growing. And so we have to be very careful of what we say and what we do with our children, because they pick up our energy.
Yeah.
Our vibration.
And I suppose it's also explaining as well, as to why, well, you can't go down that slide. But all those other kids, well, the reason being is when I was younger, blah, blah, this happened to me, and I'm worried that it might happen to you, which is why I'm doing this out of concern for you, not because you can't do it ever.
I would say that mother just needed to do a healing, to be honest. But I would really love to see everybody do their healing before they had children, because the thing about being a parent is a hard job to do. It's a hard job to be a grandparent, and I'm a step grandparent to 4 gorgeous grandchildren, and it's not easy. And it's even harder for real parents, because there's the pressure on them from the children, looking for that love, looking for that support, looking for that attention. So if you've got a lot of children, it's really hard to spread that love and that attention, especially when you're trying to make a meal and put the food on the table, and working, and it's a huge challenge. There's a lot going on, and so if we haven't done our healing, when we get into that state of trying to focus on a lot of things, and the child said, can I watch, well, no, you can't, we've got to do, no, and we can get triggered very easily. grandparents can get triggered. So, people say the triggered word, can set off people and think it's thinking of a gun. I've just heard that recently, which it's, that's a term that's been used in the spiritual world, in the healing world for many, many years. And, I don't think many spiritual healers would think about that as a gun, but you have to be careful with people who you work with, because any word, to be honest, you really do have to check with your clients to find out, is there any word which, usually they tell you if you say a word, you can't really ask, it's actually that comes up in a conversation with that word, but then you can heal. If something has a negative connotation to it, you can heal that. And so you no longer have those beliefs, you no longer have those thoughts. So that must be a horrible thing to carry around with you, having that belief around that word. So we do have a lot of there's lots of words that we can have negative connotation to, it doesn't have to be anything special. It's just what it's our perception.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own beliefs. Yes.
Yeah, and I suppose it is as well, when we're talking about imposter syndrome, as a parent or a grandparent, you can have that.
Very much so. Yes. Because like I say, the challenge of being a parent and a grandparent, it can make you feel like, because children can say, oh, is that all I'm going to get? And it's oh, we have to go home now. Well, yeah, we've only been here for the last 4 hours, but they can make you feel like you've just not giving enough, but actually what they're doing is, we're very good as children, is trying to control and try to dominate our world, basically trying to make things, get what we want. And so it's very challenging as a parent and grandparent to create boundaries, because you do want to give them what they want, but at the same time sometimes you can't.
which makes absolute sense. So so obviously we've sort of, like said, business and parents. What other things could bring up an imposter syndrome, of that feeling in people?
It would be new experiences. Would pretty much, if you're going to start a new job, a new relationship, new schooling, university, all of these things, there's fear of not, in a way, there's kind of a competition thing going on. Am I going to be enough? Am I the right person for this job? And there's also that feeling like, even though you could get a good grade, which I did, relatively good grade, in my, I did a degree, and I did it 4 years when it was a 5-year degree. I worked for 15 hours a week. I got 4.75 out of 5. Even at the end, that last term, I said to this lady, she's a little bit older than me, I said, I don't know everything. How am I going to get a job? Who's going to hire me? And I didn't use that degree properly. I didn't. I could have become an accountant. I could have just gone out there and did some accounting, and then went on further later on and did maybe a CPA. I could have done that later, but I just stayed in the same job. It was a relatively good job, but I stayed in it to be safe. So I was doing something I was familiar with. I was good at it, that perfectionist thing coming up, and I just could not go out for interviews for that, even though I just graduated with that degree with, it's on my wall here, it's just like, and it's there, it's just like, but I couldn't use it because of that feeling that I wasn't good enough. It follows you everywhere.
Yeah. So what did you do if you couldn't use it? What did you end up doing?
I just stayed back in an office, just as an administrator and secretary, and I wouldn't even become a manager because I just didn't feel like I had. I just didn't feel good enough, and I didn't feel good enough to be visible, to actually sit in meetings with people, with peers, and so I did eventually. I moved back to England, and I married my lovely husband there, Steve, and he supported. He's been extremely supportive, lovely. It's been absolutely wonderful support. And I decided, with all of my different problems that we've got, my anxiety, my stomach digestion, I was in a really quite poor state, to be honest, by the time I got back. And I thought, digestion, I needed something for my, to help my digestion. So I went to a nutritional therapist, and she was really good. And I was using supplements and everything. And so I thought, oh well, if maybe this is the answer. Maybe I need to just go out and I knew I wanted to help people, but I knew with people that had a similar problem to myself. So I thought, well, I'll go out there and get that degree. And it was a 3-year degree, and I loved it. I loved learning all about nutrition and all the supplements you could use. Got halfway through, I'm sitting there looking at my mock. I'm in a mock exam. I'm talking to my client next to me, and I look up and look out. I froze. Brain fog rolls in. All of my peers are sitting there outside, about 20 of them sitting there. My instructor sitting there grading me. And I freeze, and I cannot think of another word to say, and you could have heard a pin drop. I did manage to come back to my client and keep going, which was a miracle in itself. But that I freaked me out. I just said, I can't do this. I cannot do this. And I just quit. So I got halfway through that degree. At least I finished the last degree. So I got halfway through this one and quit. And so, as I say, the older you get, it gets harder and harder. But during that time, their communications course was a very powerful way to teach us how we thought, how we perceive things, and how we believe self-beliefs and all of this. It was really interesting, and I realized how powerful it was, and I was getting results with myself and some of the people I was even within training. So I thought, wow, this, and I realized, because even though I was doing this degree, my diet was I was still comfort eating.
Yeah.
Even though I had all of this knowledge, I was still going for the cookies, the candy, the biscuits. So, it's just like, there's more to this. And then when I come across this course, I thought, this is it. This is the answer. So that's why I studied it longer, more and more, went on more and more courses, and it really got the buzz, and realized how powerful it was, and went on a few more different courses. And so eventually what I did was take all of those pieces that I knew really worked and molded it into my Phoenix process, and worked with clients for free to start off with, and then saw those results, and I thought, oh gosh, I need to be paid. I need to be. Well, you do. The clients do need investment. There needs to be exchange of energy. Do you agree?
Oh, absolutely, totally. Yeah. We sometimes forget that as therapists. We want to heal the world. We want everyone to be, happy and living. But we have to have that exchange of energy. That's how life. What that is, life exchange of energy.
Otherwise, they're off the hook really quickly, aren't they? They can just walk out the door, and there's no.
Yeah, they're not committed.
Yeah.
And I mean, I remember a few years ago, I was talking to somebody who read tarot cards, and she did a charity event. And she said it was really interesting. She said, because it was quite a high-end charity event. She said, but the people that didn't have money that really needed the readings were the ones who actually put the most in, the donation. Those that could afford it but didn't really need it were hardly putting anything in. So that's kind of like, you can see the exchange of energy. If someone is really committed to working on themselves and allowing you to guide and help them, then they're going to want to commit to you.
Yeah. Oh, hello, Nanda. Nanda's come to join us.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
She says the Phoenix program is very helpful, life-changing, in fact.
Oh, well, thank you, Nanda. Oh, I'm so blessed to work with awesome women. It's those
tell
people
us
that
about
step
this.
up. It's those
Yeah.
women that step up and ready. So yes, even though they're not 100% ready, because there's always a part of us keeping us back, isn't there? Trying to stay safe.
Yes.
And oh, there's Sarah. Hello, Sarah.
Yeah. Hi,
It's
Sarah.
okay, Sarah. Great to see you here. Thank you. And yeah, it is about, there's a part of us that tries to keep us safe and thinks it's got the right idea, thinks it's, well, I've got all these coping strategies in place. You know, if I don't like somebody, I just run out the door as soon as I can. So, you know, I'm doing fine, you know. So, but it's not really, doesn't work so well when you're networking as a 40-year-old and running out the door like a 5-year-old. So, you know, it doesn't work very well when we're, you know, with those coping strategies, which I have done for a long time. That's the hardest thing about getting into work. Oh, thank you, Ali.
Yeah, agree then, and Lorraine's work is brilliant.
Oh, thank you very much, Ali, for your kind comment. Yeah, and it's the client, like I said, it's the client that does, you know, they really want it. They know they need it. They like me, they knew there's something wrong. There's something that needed help with, but they weren't sure what. And when you know, when you've lived it, and then you've healed yourself, and you know, I'm pretty much there now, and so it's you know just how you need to respond to these awesome women, because oh, I just wish I was a millionaire. So if I was a millionaire, I'd still take some money. Yes, we need that exchange of energy, but I'd love to have a house where I could invite all these people, all the energy healers with all the different kinds, you know, yourself included, and there's so many different kinds that can help soothe the system. And because it is,
I think the bathroom system should come back. Exchange of stuff.
well, it's really dodgy with healing, to be honest. The
I don't know. I
system.
think I could take some cakes for here. Well, I make my own chocolate, but you know, yeah, no, I mean, you could technically, you know, healing exchanges between people.
I have done that. I have.
Yeah,
I have
I've
done it
done
to start
that.
off with. I have, yeah, to start off with. What are you saying, Ali?
She's saying the proof is, Lorraine, I met you years ago, and after the work you have done with your own techniques on yourself, and you're now totally empowered.
Thank you.
So how did you? So how did when did you realise? What's the trigger point that you realised you sort of like in this imposter? You know, that you had this imposter feeling because you were doing this communications course, you were starting doing loads of work, got the Phoenix thing. Where did you suddenly think, oh my God, I've got an imposter syndrome here?
Well, it's only well, there was when I was at Ali Harold's speaking program, and that's where I met a lot of wonderful women. And Ali was my coach, and I couldn't speak up on the first. You know, I spoke up for a minute, and then in the afternoon we had a whole 3 minutes to say how wonderful we were and what we, you know, our interested in doing. In that, we could choose whatever we wanted. Could talk about my cat if I want. I didn't have a cat at the time, but I could have said anything for those 3 minutes. And you know, if you're in business, then 3 minutes of talking about yourself, which is wonderful, and who you are. But after a minute, I had to sit back down. And then later on that year, I was at a mentoring program, and I just couldn't stand it. I was supposed to say how wonderful I was, and you know, write on this thing that you're supposed to put on your website, and I couldn't do it. And I had to have somebody else do it for me, and they read it out because they had done the work with me, so they knew, you know, what they were saying is their truth. And so, but I refused to get up. And then later on that year in November, this is 2016 I'm talking about, is I had, I got called up the day before. My mentor said, can you come and give me a testimonial in front of 80 people? And it's just, oh my gosh, the universe is testing me. Should I step up? Should I? And I just said yes. And I'm thinking, you know, so I ended up, I panicked the whole day. You know, I could have made a run for it. I could have not even got on that train. There's so many self-sabotage things you can do. I'd done them all. And I got up there, I did it, and I sat for 5, and then they had to try and shut me up. She said, okay, that's enough. Thank you, Lorraine. But then, of course, after that, there's so many layers that you have to work through. So after, you know, about 4, you know, even up till just recently, you know, the universe has been sending us stuff to heal from, haven't they?
Yeah.
All of us, I think, and who are on that journey. And yes, it was So here I am talking to you now, and just a year or two ago, I wouldn't even have taken you up on your offer. So yes, it's been a long journey, but it's a worthwhile journey.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. It's interesting. Something you just said there. It's like you weren't able to stand up and speak for yourself, but when you were talking and praising someone else, it was easier
Yeah,
to do it because you're talking about someone else. You're not talking about yourself.
yeah. Well, that's true. That's probably the reason why I was, rather than me going up there giving my own talk. Yeah, you're right. Yes, but there was plenty of, and that's what Ali was saying. It keeps women from fulfilling their potential.
Yeah.
Yeah, so much talent wasted. That's right, Ali. And as a speaker coach, an awesome speaker coach, Ali knows. She comes across it all the time. So, but what I do is I work with the deeper work. It's almost like a phobia, to be honest. There's people I work with, there's just something really blocking them from getting up, even working with a coach. There's some women that still have a bit of a fear, but they can work with a coach, and that's fine. They're not my client. My client is those people that do work with a coach and still find it hard and still can't follow through. They might do something once, but then they run for the hills, or they just don't do anything the coach says, or don't even sign up for a coach because the idea of signing up for a coach is too intimidating. The idea of someone pushing you out there to be visible and helping you become what you want to become, but there's a part of you keeping yourself safe. Those blocks keeping you safe, and the older you get, the worse it gets, because you become even more and more you shut out the world, and it's sad, really.
Yeah, it is. But I think things are changing now.
I think so.
I think they're changing an awful lot, and a lot of older women now are kind of like stepping forward and actually going, actually, I do have a voice. I am worthy to be heard.
Those aren't my client. Those are somebody like Ali could use to work with as a speaker coach, whereas my client will not make that comment. They have been, their psyche, and they've, like myself, have been so, you could say traumatized. You could say, telling a child off really harshly can traumatize a child. It doesn't take much. It really doesn't.
No.
They are so sensitive, children. And so if you're a very strict parent, you could be, it's something to consider, because children grow from love. They shrink in fear. And they just continue. They shrink. They just cannot function. Yes, they might do what you tell them to do, but it doesn't help them as an adult.
Yeah. And Sarah has said, you helped me, Lorraine, with that memory I had in my dyslexia fear.
Oh, wonderful. Glad to hear that, Sarah. So pleased for you. That's brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah. So it just goes to show how it can affect us in so many different ways. And that it could be anybody, even if you've actually been successful and you're on top of your game.
A lot of people at the top of the game must still have it. Yes. Yeah, I've got a quote from what have I got is Maya Angelou, if I pronounce that correctly. Angelou. She says, I've written 11 books, but each time I think, they're going to find out now. I've run a game on everybody and they're going to find me out.
Yeah.
That's I love her. All of her quotes that I've ever read, I need to start reading the books, to be honest, because I love the lady. And can you imagine somebody with all of that knowledge, all of that wisdom, and she's still thinking, somebody's going to find me out. And I think that's terribly sad, because the thing is, you can do something about it. You can heal from these thoughts, these feelings. And that's my message. You can do something about it. And that was, when I was 39, I had I had a huge meltdown, if you will. I had my midlife crisis. And from there, that's my journey to healing for the last 21 years. So it's been quite a journey, but it was definitely worthwhile.
Yeah. So explain the Phoenix program to us.
Okay, so when I first started out, I thought, well, we could just get introductory and just do a few sessions, maybe 6 sessions, but it is like the layers you do have to do. It is, how many years? Like, it took me 59 years, and now I'm healed. But I started, 10 years ago working on myself, so that takes longer. But it can take maybe 3 to 5 years, depending if you grew up with a narcissist, for instance. All of that, it messes up with your mind. It really does. And it depends on your history. And if you've had the other experiences I had with my clients is early child baby trauma, going back into the hospital with when you're, between a year and between 0 when they're born, 1 and when they're just born, and up to 1 or 2 years of age, they don't understand they don't have language, so you can't explain anything to them. And so those affect us as adults. Those fears, we're like a tree. Every experience we have, every emotional meltdown, it's part of our psyche. And if we hold on to that energy, if we hold on to those beliefs, then they hang around us. They hang around us. And if something reminds us of that, and we don't even know what it is, it might be somebody just putting their hand around your neck for something, but if somebody's had throat surgery when they were a baby, for that, they could then turn into a panic attack.
Yeah.
So, you just don't know what's going to set people off, and you don't, the stuff that they're holding on to throughout their life. You don't know where the source, where the root is. That's why you have to heal very gently, very kindly. So what I do is work on an 18-month basis with my clients, 30 sessions. And it's very reasonable. And if I do say so myself, because I do want clients, I do want them to heal. And we meet online, just like we're doing now, and I ask my clients to tell me about their history, about events that happened, the people that are around them that influenced them when they were children, babies, and events as adults. Because what usually happens as an adult, whatever happened to us as an adult, will be linked emotionally to a trauma, a childhood. Because we can deal with things as adults if we're emotionally mature, and we can, we'll have the fight or flight or fawn syndrome, and we will and then but we can deal with it if we're emotionally mature. We can think things through. It's when we've got these trapped emotions, it freezes us, or it blocks us, and we have that underlying fear that was created maybe when we were 2 or 3 years old or 4 years old, which is easy to do to a little child. And so, if something happens to us as an adult, we get, that reminds us of that time, and we act like we're 3 years old. And if we ran under the table when we were 3 years old, then we're going to run and hide as an adult rather than act, get that clear thinking going, or what are my options? Okay, so if I do A, what happens then? And so you understand the consequences of what you're going to do, and you can think things through. Whereas if you are truly triggered, you can't think things through. You just act like you are whatever that age that you had that experience, held on to that belief, held on to that feeling, and you actually literally turn into that child again. And that's the sad part, because there's a lot of people running out there talking, adults running around with children. Children running around with adult clothes on is the way I wanted to put it, which is very sad, because like I say, there is an answer.
Yeah.
And so the Phoenix program, you were asking me about that. Did I answer it? Yes. So it is about the process, is more about finding. So first we have to find what it is. And maybe it was yesterday you screamed at the kids, you just completely went ballistic, and afterwards you think, no, where did that come from? What happened there? And so we would work with that, and we would find and then we work through the layers with the process that I do, my Phoenix process. It's a mind-body process, and we're very gentle, very respectful, and very supportive of these younger parts, because they probably didn't have all of that. They had unmet needs. That's why they held on to that energy. And so that's why we help heal them, and then help them with replace that with a better feeling, a more empowered feeling, and then mature that part so it no longer has that energy, no longer has that immaturity. And then what happens is it's very subtle. Over time, you start doing things differently. You start responding differently. You maybe create healthy boundaries. You help. You no longer, if someone has been taking advantage of you, the light goes on because you're more mature, and all of a sudden you're thinking, this isn't right, and all of a sudden you step back a little bit and start thinking more clearly, because you don't have the layers that are holding you back in fear of saying something, because, well, if I say something, then they're not going to be my friend anymore, So, but then you say, well, no, that's not right. Then you could say things to them respectfully and say, well, did you really mean that? You could actually stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
Whereas before you wouldn't have done, because you were just trying to hold on to that friendship because, for some reason, because you wanted to be liked. And that is one of the common thing that is quite common. We need to heal, because we do need to be authentic selves.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sarah says, I love the way you're explaining it.
Oh, thank you, Sarah.
And it does, the way you've been explaining it kind of like really makes sense. How you can actually help, what our triggers could be, and how you can help with it. So, Lorraine, now, as you know, I do guided meditation and angel card readings.
Mm-hmm.
And each week I like to ask my guests whether they would like a mini guided meditation or for me to pull an angel card for themselves and those watching. So, Lorraine, you get to choose. What would you like me to do? Pull an oracle angel card or to do a mini guided meditation for you and those watching?
I would love an angel card.
Excellent.
Are you ready,
Right
ladies? You ready, ladies?
I think
and Steve.
And Steve. Yeah.
And there's maybe some guys out there. Are we all ready for this angel card?
Yes. Let's see what the card wants to bring out for all of us. And of course, when I do the cards for what we need to know in our present. So I don't predict the future, because even though I work with the past is to heal so you can be fully in your present. And I take people into the future, so if they know their future, they're fully present. So it's all what you need to know for your highest good at this moment in time. So what is Lorraine and all those watching?
Oh, look at Sherry. What are you saying here, darling? Oh, that's a long comment.
Let's have a look what she's saying. Okay, so she's saying, hi, Lorraine. I admire your authenticity and the fact that you've been through your own healing journey. In my mind, this makes you the best person to help others heal through these traumatic childhood layers. You really understand how children need love to thrive and the effect it has on an adult that it doesn't happen. Thank goodness you've worked this out and developed your Phoenix program to help us heal. Sending lots of love to you.
Oh, thank you, Sherry. I really appreciate that, lovely lady.
Yes, and you definitely need the card as well. So, what does Lorraine, Sherry, and everyone who's watching this need to know for their highest good at this moment of time? What does Lorraine, Sherry, and everyone need to know for their highest good? Perfect card. It's sort of like jumped out of this. Valiant courage, take action with passion.
Oh, wow. Oh,
you can't beat that as validation with what we've actually been talking about.
Oh, wow.
Today. It really is kind of, validation of what you've been doing, what you've been saying. And those are people that have been watching this, that they've been doing, or if they haven't done it yet, it's now time for them to take that action with passion and have that valiant courage to actually step forward and be who they are supposed to be. And
share the world with their awesome talents.
Exactly. So yeah, perfect as always, perfect cards.
Oh, thank you very much. That is lovely. I'm sure all these lovely ladies that are there definitely agree for themselves as well.
Yeah, for themselves and for you. You're doing absolutely perfect with what you're doing. So Lorraine, do you have any insights or thoughts to leave our viewers?
You are awesome. You are powerful. And you can. You really can. If there's any blocks, anything that's going on for you, you know yourself. You're your own armchair detective. Only you can make that decision to help empower yourself. Now, that word might be a little bit scary because it was for me. But I didn't use that word for a long time. But it is about helping yourself. You have to fill your own cup before you can help others. You have to do your own work before you help others. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. We just trigger each other and we go round and round on that drama triangle, round and round on the merry-go-round, and it doesn't work. So as I said, the older it gets, the worse it gets. And I don't really want to make that your belief, but it was for me. That's exactly what happened. All my experiences, and the faster it went as well. I only got halfway through the second degree and then crashed and burned. So yes, it is about, you can do it. Find the right person. I'm here. There's a lot of us out there. Find the right person for you that you trust, that you feel understands your situation and you. And it will be growing. It will be trust would have to build, because you might not trust that person to start off, and that's fine. But it will take time, and you will build that trust, and that trust between the two of you will help you do your healing. So do it. That's all I can say, is just do it. It's an awesome inner work healing journey that, yes, yeah, anything tough is hard, but it's worth doing. You will love the benefits at the end.
Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you so much for that, for that wisdom. And yes, it is finding the right person who can help you, which is why there's so many therapists, out there that can help you. You just find the right one who'll help you on your journey, and then you might become that therapist who then goes on to help someone else, and then that's
right.
snowball effect.
It's snowball effect. That's what we want. Yeah,
it is what we want. We want everyone to be in that place of self-empowerment and being of service and making the world
needs
place.
it. Yes. There's Ali asking a question. Do I offer a free call to explore with potential client? Yes, I do. I put in a lot of time.
We're getting onto that in a minute.
Yes. That's me jumping on the gun. Yes, I do, Ali.
Yeah, so we'll get to that one. Okay. So I hope everyone that you've enjoyed this and found it insightful, and the words of wisdom Lorraine has given you will help you further on your journey. So Lorraine, if people want to connect with you, how do they do that?
Well, they can send me a Facebook, friend me on Facebook, send me a message on LinkedIn, and if you can make the comment that you've seen me on this show and would love to so at least I know, because I get a lot of friend requests, and all they want to be is friends. They don't they don't know what I do or anything. So if you can say I've Imposter Syndrome, I've seen you on a show about Imposter Syndrome, and I'd love to talk to you some more. That would be my little message to know that you are interested in talking to me, because I am relaxed about this. I don't push people. I'm not a salesy person, so I've failed all my sales classes. So I only work with people that I know. I do a little taster to find out whether or not what I do can help you. And so I've learned through the years that, from doing, I've been going under my 5th year now, that it is about making sure and that I can make a difference in your life, and you can make a difference in yours, working together. We kind of work as a team. So, and now I know that now I know the signs, kind of the signs that I say, well, maybe you need to find someone else. I don't think it's going to work. So it is, yeah. So what I do have that free call to complimentary call to make sure that we can work together.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't have the glass ball to know exactly, but it is a journey. It is a journey. So if someone that works with me for a while, then they can move on to another person, and go take it from a different angle. So it is a journey, and there's lots of us out there. So yeah, find that person for you, or where you are on that journey.
Yeah, because you might need different people on different steps of your journey.
Yes.
You might need the same personal way through, but you might need various people. So Bhavisha says, thank you both. Thank you for watching.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Ali says, great session, ladies. Thank you.
Thank you, Ali.
And Sarah says, thank you, Lorraine, for being you. And Sherry Bennett put it beautifully. Love both you both. Love to you both, ladies. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah. I had a lovely retreat with Sarah a few years ago. Oh, she does a gorgeous retreat. I would love. So yes,
she does, and she's been on my show as well.
Oh yeah, she's heard all about her. She's such a talented lady, I have to say. Oh, she could
and
cook.
Ali's coming on in September.
Oh, brilliant! Well done. Oh yeah, you'd love to hear about what Ali does. Yeah, fantastic.
Exactly. So everyone, thank you so much for watching. And of course, if you have reached that crossroads in your life and you need help finding your destiny and getting clear on your path, then I would love to be that guide for you. Feel free to reach out and connect with me so we can arrange a free 20 to 30 minute session via Skype or Messenger so we can find out more about each other and whether I can help you further on your journey. And of course, if you are looking at the chance to get away now that things are shifting and learn more about yourself, then I will be running a 4-day retreat down in Glasgow in October. So please feel free to check it out and register your interest. And of course, have my Angel Wings membership community where you get a chance to grow with Ascended Masters, Archangels, Oracle cards, Goddesses, to spread your wings and soar and becoming the best possible person that you can be. And of course, everyone, thank you so much for watching. And I would like to invite you to share this video, as I'm sure there are more women who feel lost and want to get clear on their destiny just like you. And if you're watching this on the YouTube channel, then please subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when the show goes live. And I look forward to seeing you all again next week when you join me the same time, same place. And just before we go, Sherry says, bless you, Lorraine. Thanks to you both. So
bless you, Sherry.
So again, thank you so much, everyone, for
listening,
sharing,
everybody.
Listening, joining in,
sharing. Love it. Thank you so much.
It's brilliant, and thank you, Lorraine, for being on the show. And I will see, hopefully, some of you again next week or in the previous weeks. So take care, everyone, and I'll see you soon. Bye.
Thank you, Rae. Thank you so much. Bye.